of this. Hello, friends.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So, welcome everyone and you guys to Bring Your Own Book September. If you guys don't know what that is, basically, every month we usually read like pick an inspirational pick, but for September, we all just decided to clear out our to be reads or to be reads and read whatever we're gonna read. So we're gonna get started. I have about 10 questions, but that doesn't mean we all need to talk about the questions. You guys all know Monique, Diana. Hey. So I know these two were a lot more aggressive in their book reading than I was. I only got through one. I want to know, show of hands, how many books did you guys read this month?
Oh, don't put me on the spot. For September?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
That wasn't part of the questions. Let me open my Goodreads.
Wow, that you have to count?
Let me open my Goodreads. Hold on. I just
Going me up.
9.
9?
9.
Wow.
This was a good reading month for me. I don't normally read that much, but there was a lot of good ones I wanted to read for the getting towards the end of the year. We subscribed to Book of the Month, and so their voting for the Book of the Year was this month, and I had a few that I wanted to read so that I can tell if I wanted to vote for those or not. So that was kind of why I read so much.
A little birdie told me which one you read in 2 sittings.
The one we're going to the one I'm going to talk about.
Yeah,
there's a lot that she read in 2 sittings.
There's a couple I read in 2 sittings, but the one that we voted for Book of the Year, I read in 24-hour period. It was
all right.
So good.
Yeah.
So let's see which books everyone is going to talk about for BYOB.
Book of the Year.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll start with the first question. I'll go first. I read All About Love by Bell Hooks. It's classified as a philosophy / nonfiction book. To me, it kind of read like an essay. I've read another book by Roxane Gay called Bad Feminist, and it's kind of reminded me of that book, just in how it was written. And so that is kind of the genre that I put it in.
Okay. I read Razorblade Tears by F.A. Crosby, and this is classified as a thriller.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
And I read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and it is sci-fi. He's most known for, I think, The Martian. I didn't read The Martian. I just saw the movie, and just based on the movie is what made me want to read this book.
Okay. So I didn't put this question, but kind of give me an idea of what the book overall was about. And you can go, Diana, then Monique, and then I'll go.
Oh, okay. Let me see, because I wrote this out because it's really best to go into these types without knowing too much. So I didn't want to give any spoilers. Mm-hmm. So I wrote out what I wanted to say so that I don't spoil it for anyone. But basically, the book is about Ryland, and he wakes up in a spaceship without any recollection of who he is, or how he got there, or the mission that he's on. And he is on a last chance mission to save humanity. And when he wakes up, his whole crew is dead. And so that's how the book starts. So none of this is spoilers, because this is what is in the synopsis of the book. Okay. And and so that's the premise of this story.
Okay. I know I'm bad about spoilers, so I'm glad you pointed that out because I'll tell you the whole story. What about some Razorblade Tears? I know you guys both read that one, so I want to hear from you, Monique.
So Razorblade Tears, the premise is that it's about these two fathers, one black, one white. One is Ike and the other one is Buddy Lee. And their two sons are gay and they're married to each other and they are both murdered. So it's about the two fathers who are also ex-convicts trying to work together to figure out who killed their sons and why.
So what
is on a lot of topics.
So the book itself is on a lot of topics, so it covered a lot of
it covers everything. It has, racism, sexism, prejudice towards the LGBTQ community, classism, everything that you can possibly think of, it's in here.
That's one thing I've appreciated about like the books you've chosen that you've read. At least I know with House in the Cerulean Sea, like you read books that are for today's like audience, like very.
I try to. I mean, not all of them, but I do try to be more diverse in my readings. Like a lot of the fantasies that we read are very whitewashed, so I try to mix it up and read a little bit of everything.
You're so cultured. I swear I always choose authors that are like white men. I think I said this in another one. Oh my, but not bell hooks. So I was actually surprised when my sister, she was like, I'm surprised you read a book. She's like, well, I'm not surprised you read a book by a feminist. So the book, I would have considered myself a feminist like once upon a time. But I also don't hold like strong opinions on the subject. So when I learned more about bell hooks, if I would have known that ahead of time, I probably would have been like, I don't know how I feel about this book, because when an author has a lot of controversy or might hold really strong opinions, it might dissuade me from reading the book, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm more of an open-minded. I say I'm an open-minded reader, right? But I'm sitting here saying, but I'm sitting here. So surprisingly, when I read this book, it was far from feminism. So basically the book, All About Love, is based all about love. She pulls from definitions of love in different literature that she's read from, and within her life. This book was written back in 2000, so it's kind of old. And I don't know, that it's because it doesn't have like a storyline. It's hard to explain specifically like what the story was, but really what it does is it ties love into spirituality, into society, into consumer, like just how we as a society have lost love and how different things have taken its place, such as consumerism, individualism, and things like that. And so I really appreciated the book. But so I'm gonna run the next one. This is really, I love this. Okay. So the best part about this book for me was her quotes. When I first started reading the book, I was like, this sounds kind of negative. But then as she got deeper into it, I learned something. I learned a good definition of love. I think the best thing about this book was she was so vulnerable, and she was like, we don't talk about love enough in society. We talk about individualism and things like that. So she kind of expanded my worldview and kind of made it acceptable to just be like, hey, this is what love is. And this is a definition that you can use in all areas of your life. So that was my favorite part about the book. My least favorite part about the book was really that it just kind of started off kind of negative for me. It took a while for me to get into it. But other than that, I had nothing but good things to say.
How long did it take you to read it?
I'm a slow reader. I think it took me a week.
Oh,
It took
fast.
me.
That's fast for
It
you.
was pretty fast for me because, like, again, once I got over the first 3 chapters, then I was just like, ooh, this is really good. This is really good. And then I started just highlighting all throughout and tabbing things because I was like, I'm learning something that I didn't really know about. And that's kind of what the author's point was. She's like, we don't learn about love. We learn about everything else, but do we know how to love, especially if perhaps our initial primary caregivers didn't show us how, or it's like, dang, I feel talked to, like I needed to read this. So yeah.
Gotcha. So my favorite part of the book, honestly, everything, but I think so. My favorite like character in the book, I want to say, I think it's Buddy Lee. He just his personality and his mouth. He was so quick witted, and he had like the silliest like catchphrases and everything. But then in the blink of an eye, he can turn around and be cool with like somebody getting stabbed to death or something. Like he was,
Wow.
yeah, he was real cool, and I like the fact that so in this book, Buddy Lee is the white father, and he is not rich by any means. He's like the definition of trailer trash. And the other, with the opposite, Ike is the one who has his life seemingly together. Like he has his own business and he has the house with the picket fence and the wife, and he has the seemingly perfect life before his son was murdered. And so I like that they flipped it like that, and they showed that it's not always the white people who are better than you, or like who has more money than you, or whatever. It was nice to see that. But then you do see another side where like Buddy Lee's ex-wife is married to a governor who is like rich, and she's like, don't touch me, or I'm not gonna sit on your couch because it's dirty, like that. So you get that. But I overall I liked him. He was my favorite character. And then what I didn't like most about the book, I mean, there wasn't a lot that I didn't like at all. Like you have to like pick it apart to find something that you didn't like. The one thing that I could have gone without is like there's points of view from people from the bad people. I don't want to like really spoil anything. There are points of view from like the antagonist that you could take or leave. Like you don't need it in order for the story to be told. Because at the end of the day, like
what are they, fluff kind of, or would you say it's like fluff fillers?
No, maybe. I mean, it was their points of view were always so like quick, and maybe he's just trying to show you from a different point of view. Mom, you've read it, so do you think that you would have lost anything if you didn't get those characters' points of view?
Probably not.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I could be like, I didn't have to know what was in their head. Like they could have.
Why do you think the author did that?
I honestly don't know. Maybe
were the things that were said. I mean, I obviously can't speak for like everyone, but was it things that were said that like your average person might say in those scenarios? And so they're trying to give like,
it wasn't that it was what they were saying, it was what they were doing.
Okay.
More so, and how like their storyline. So you would leave off with like the dad's doing one thing and going someplace, and then you would get the other side of the story and them meeting and clashing with the dad. And, you know what I mean? So it's like you didn't really need to know like so much background on the background characters, but I mean, it added a different layer to the story. But
yeah,
so I didn't really need it in order to like the movie. But I do hope they make it into a movie.
I wonder if I do hope they make it to a movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if one already exists like it.
We'll get into that.
Okay. All right.
All right, Mom.
All right. So without without giving any real spoilers or things like that, I would have to say my favorite parts would be the character development of Ryland and how you find out about him. Basically, the story's told on, it has two timelines. So one is the present day, and in that timeline, he's trying to figure out why he's on this ship and how to go about this mission. And then the second timeline is done as flashbacks, and so it goes back to the beginning, and you're getting why he was picked for this mission, and what how what he's there to do, how is he going to save the earth. And so I enjoyed that part, the going back and forth, and finding out the way he's remembering. That's how you're finding out the backstory and how it's developing. So I think this author did a really good job of going back and forth like that.
Was it different chapters on that?
No, and
Okay,
it wasn't
it was
different chapters. Okay. It was in the middle as he remembered something or something became familiar to him. It would jump into a flashback, and so it wasn't really every other chapter. Or so I thought that he did it was done really well, the going back and forth. It was easy to follow. Now, on the other hand, what I would say would be my least favorite was the amount of science that was in it, the explaining the science, the math, and the physics behind it. To me, I mean, for people that are very into sci-fi and they want to fact check and all of that, fact check, they love this. So I could get why he would put that in. For me, the first 120 pages, I would say, was slow because of all of the science that was in there. And once I hit once you read the book, you'll know the point. But once you hit this certain point, then you can't put it down. Then I couldn't put it down. And so I did start reading it, and about 50 pages in, I was like, I almost was like, I'm not going to be able to finish this. And then I was like, you know what? This book has such high ratings on Goodreads. I love The Martian. I was like, I'm just going to push through. So I got the audiobook, and I would read along with the audiobook. And so it helped me get through those sciencey parts a lot quicker, to where I really got to the story. And then after that, it was just, I read it very quickly once I hit that 120 page mark.
How many pages was it? I always get intimidated by pages. You can have a book that's 400 pages and the words are this big, and I'd still be like, 400 pages?
Yeah, it's 475, 476. Ooh. So you could see, I loved it, but you could definitely see that it took about to getting to here.
This book is popping my camera up.
Yeah, the first 100, it took getting into 100 pages in.
Right, Mom?
Oh, yeah.
This is the
I don't know how you guys do. I gotta
start it tonight after.
But I love reading. When I have a big book or a fantasy book, I love listening to the audiobook and
that does help.
And it does help. It brings it. I don't know. It helps me get through them. But
I feel like that helped me with House in the Cerulean Sea.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be helping me with The Silent Patient right now if I
did
not.
It would.
The book is really good.
It would.
I'm gonna
So really stick with The Silent Patient, because
I told her
I know it feels slow and it drags, and then the last 100, 150 pages really brings it all together and makes it worthwhile.
And the plot twist, I had to read it twice. I was like, huh?
Yes.
Well, you know why? Because what it feels like as I'm reading it, I'm just going to use an example. It feels like he's like telling me a story, and then he's like, and then by the way, way back when, and he just goes into this whole tangent, and then I'm like, okay, like let's move on.
It's what is that word I'm trying to say? It's intentional.
Okay.
Yes.
It's very intentional.
Talking about. So I had said, just so everyone knows, that I was going to read this one too. I said I was going to read this and All About Love, but I only got 25% through The Silent Patient. So
you didn't even crack the surface yet.
I didn't even crack the spine.
No. Don't crack spines.
So I guess since you were already talking about, so how long did it take you to read the book then, Diana?
Once I got the audiobook, and again, once I got past that about 120 page mark, where the story really starts to take place, I feel, where it really is getting to the heart of his mission to save the earth. It probably was like 2 days. So I would say it probably took me about 4 days to finish it.
Impressive. I'm gonna forever be impressed by.
Well, it took me about a week to finish Razorblade Tears, only because I started it when I was on vacation, and I didn't read as much as I wanted to, and then I didn't want to read it fast because I didn't want to miss anything. So it took me about a week to read it.
I'm also running behind a little walking 10-month-old, so
yeah, I don't have kids at home or have anything like that right. That's not fair.
That's why we read that much.
My kids are.
That's why I should read that much. Like, woo, because my brain. So Monique, that one took you said a week to read?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and for me, I think that was about the same for Bell Hooks. Like, once I got into All About Love, I finished it in a week, and I was like, I read it every night. And then once I got to the end, I couldn't put it down. I was like, there was one chapter towards the end that I was just all about. I think I saved. No, it was actually in the middle. It's chapter 5, and it was on spirituality, divine love. And once I hit that chapter, I think it was that chapter that had me hooked. And then I was just like, all right, I got to get through this and finish it, because I wanted to absorb everything that she was saying, without too much time passing, so that I could get the whole lesson. So,
yeah,
I guess
the ending for Razorblade Tears, I think the last 100 pages, I think I read that all in one sitting, because the ending was just like boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I love books that do that. Like once you get to the build up, and then it's just, all right.
Yeah. And that's definitely the way that I felt with Project Hail Mary. It's like once I got to where they were really in the thick of things, I had to finish it. It's like it was hard to put down. Like I was falling asleep and wait, I still have to, I need to. And then but it was really, really good. The ending was but yes, you said, was it a race to the end? Yes, definitely, because you want to find out how are they gonna save the earth. So there's definitely a race to the end, and the end was fantastic. I did not see the end coming the way that it ended. I did not see it coming.
Well, now I'm curious, does it end like the movie?
This one's not a movie yet.
Oh, okay. So it's not the one that's based on The Martian?
No, The Martian is a movie, yes.
Okay.
And that it's the same author. This one is going to be a movie. Ryan Gosling, I think, is going to play the Razor. Yeah.
I definitely have to read it.
Yes, so it is going
I'm gonna have them.
It is going to be a movie. And if you like The Martian, then you'll like this book, because it's very similar. It has I mean, even though it's intense and it's end of the world type thing, it is kind of has it is kind of has sections where it's lighthearted and it's funny and they're sarcastic. So
Okay. So it has some fun to it.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
It has some fun to it.
And that was how The Martian was too, for
Yes.
the most part. Like when he was, you know, listening to
what
music.
was that? Was it anything like Galaxy? Was it Galaxy, the one with Sandra Bullock? Not Galaxy. What was the one with Sandra Bullock? Do you remember that?
When she was stuck in space and she had
Yeah.
to make.
Was it?
So, I mean, it's kind of.
Okay.
It's that same type of vibe. I mean, that's sci-fi.
Those movies scare me because, like,
type of sci-fi. Yes, and they're, he's stuck in space and he's having to figure out first he has to figure out why he's there, and then he has to figure out how to save the Earth, and with with what he has there. I mean, remember he went up there with a crew of people, right, with two other people, and they all had a role to play in saving the world, and now those two did not survive, and so he's having to first figure out what he was there to do, and then how to do it. So it is intense, but it is intense in a good way. It was good.
So would you say that was the writing intense? I guess good question is, what did you think of the writing? This one, standout sentences. How would you say the writing? I know you said it was a little bit.
I thought it was good because right when you feel like it's so intense, he would include something that's funny or sarcastic or whatever to lighten it up a little so that it wasn't so heavy. But it does give, I will say there were portions in it where I was sad, and there's portions in there where you're cheering for him, and there's portions where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened. So yeah, it does make you feel, I mean, he did make me feel all of those emotions.
Okay. Did you have any standout sentences too in there?
I
know.
Probably yes, but I don't want to say because they are, they're would give away parts of the story. Yeah, I don't want to say, but I would say like there's a lot of sarcasm in there, and there's a lot of witty like little things that they drop in there to make it funny. A lot of references with some Beatles and the Beatles music too.
Okay,
but it was good. It was really good.
You're so good because I would be like, exactly this page, and then
there's a lot. See, look, all those that
I know, but
are things that made me feel away.
I started doing that with my books, by the way. My man bought me highlighters and stuff because he was watching 365 Days. He's like, I'm gonna buy you highlighters so you can do like Diana does. I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Monique got me into doing that.
The tabbing. You have to sometimes. And you know what I'm so upset about was that I didn't take any tabs with me on vacation, so I didn't tab anything in this book, and I'm so sad. I'm so sad about it. And I'm sitting here trying to find the quote. I can't find it.
I can go with mine.
In Razorblade Tears either, but
you didn't tab it because it was so. It was fast.
Yeah,
it was slow, but it was not slow. But I read it slow, but it was not. It was fast. The one thing that I will say is that I do like the writing and the way that he grammatically there are things that are purposely grammatically incorrect, I guess you could say, and that's just because of the way that they talk. It takes place down south in Virginia and in the country, and so there's a lot of slang and there's a lot of cursing, and I like that. Some people don't like that about books, like they want everything to be grammatically correct and them to speak in complete sentences and things like that. But it's whatever. I liked it. What I watched an interview that the author had with a group of YouTubers, and one of the things he said that stood out, because it's a prominent thing in here where the two fathers go to a gay bar, and the topic of, you know, a black man being gay and being a pro, like, or a black man being straight in a gay bar and being hit on, even though he says like, don't touch me, you know what I mean? And S.A. Cosby says that, you know, he had some of his gay friends read the book to, you know, see if he was representing them well. And one of the things he said was that one of the feedback that he got was, listen, you know, if a fight erupts in a gay bar, it's like a fight in any other bar. Like, just because they're of their sexuality doesn't mean that they're pushovers. So he was like, okay, I respect that. So when you see Ike basically get uncomfortable with being hit on, and he basically starts a fight, and instead of, you know, he said in the original draft that he had people just standing around and watching these two men fight, but in the book, what ends up happening is that everybody backs up the gay man, and they basically push Ike and Betty Lee out of that bar, like, this is our space. And I like that representation was like, you know, they're not gentle creatures. They're human, and they get upset, and they're willing to defend themselves just like you are. And I really appreciated that. That's probably one of the standout scenes in the book.
And I appreciate books like that are kind of prescriptive in that way, where they try to prescribe and help guide others. And, you know, in a sense, like, this is how we could be reacting. It's a part of the story. Maybe it's not part of their everyday life that as it exists, but it would be nice if it was.
Right. Because you don't really see that. Like, you don't really, you don't notice that as somebody who's, you know, a straight person. You would tend to, I don't know why, but like it didn't click to me like, oh, okay, sure. It didn't, you know, and him bringing it up, I was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I would have felt if everybody would just have stood around and, you know, watched Ike as he beat up this guy because he hit on him.
Would have been hard to in a book because you can put yourself in the situation. You know, anyone can put themselves in that situation. It's like horrible treatment towards another human being, period. You know? Well, I'll share. So I did like the writing. Like I said, it read like an essay. There were some things, and I like that she pulled popular culture and popular people into the book, which was why I was like, how was this written in 2000? Either I'm really getting old, or her reference to like Lil' Kim and the Obamas was like, or I don't know who else but people that she made reference to, I'm like, this is people more of the 2000s than when this book was written. So maybe I'm just really aging and not realizing like how much time I've been alive. And yeah, you can reference Lil' Kim because she was around in the 90s. So, you know,
she was
right. And I'm thinking, like, but so I did like the style of writing. I feel like she took sort of a it was like talking to a friend, you know, it was like talking to your empathetic girlfriend, because you know how you know when you tell someone about, you know, because again, it's about love. You talk to someone about love and they're like, oh, you know, because I know, Miss Monique, you've done this too, and I love you for it. It's okay to be single, right? You know, those friends who are like, feminist, you don't need a man, like those kind. She's more like, I appreciate love. It was just like, yes, and I just want to be hugged, and you're like, yes. Like she gave me all those feels in this book. So it was kind of like talking to a friend. My favorite quote, and this was the definition that I was talking about, that I was like, okay, now I feel like I know how to define love. It says this is from The Road Less Traveled, and she did a lot of that. She pulled references from other books that are in the past and everything. So it's from The Road Less Traveled, published in 1978, and it's the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. Will also implies choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. And I just thought that was so rich that I was like, now I understand something that, you know, you can only conceptually, you know, I think love it's such a conceptual idea more than you understand it to be like something that you can intellectualize. And I think she really did a good job intellectualizing what love is. That made sense. So I would definitely want to read another book by her.
Yes. I'm about to go to Barnes and Nobles tomorrow and get his other book.
What's his other book?
It's I have to look it up. But I always see it every time I go to Barnes and Nobles. I always see it on the table for like the 50% off, you know, the little 50% off table. I always see it and I'm just like, you know what? Let me read this book. Let me read Razorblade Tears first and see if I like him. But he's probably going to be one of those authors that I auto buy.
That's how I am right now about Anthony Doerr for All the Light We Cannot See. So he just came out with Cloud Cuckoo Island, which I picked up today from Barnes and Nobles. And Cloud Cuckoo Land, and I have to first read All the Light We Cannot See. So it's kind of similar where they say you have to read this.
Oh, do I have that book?
I think I have that book too. I don't think I've read it yet, and I have it too.
It sounds familiar.
This was on my TBR, and I was lucky enough to find it in one of the little nature's bookshelves. You know, the books. What do they call those things? The little libraries, little free libraries.
Oh, the little libraries. Yeah.
This is where I got that one.
Yeah. So I think the one that I want to pick up is called Blacktop Wasteland. I think that's what it is.
I feel like I've heard it, but
yeah, it looks like.
Let me see. Okay, yeah.
I think that's what it is. I could be wrong, but.
All right. Yes. Now, would you read? Well, you have read a few books by this author, Anthony Weir, right?
Diane? No, this is the first one that I've read. So I didn't read The Martian. I just saw the movie. So I may read it. They say that it is similar in many ways, like the writing style is similar. So I may read it. They do say it has the same amount of sciencey parts, but now I know. I mean, I could just skim through the sciencey parts. I don't need to. I'm not one that's gonna fact check and be like, oh, this is impossible. You know, Star Wars was impossible, and it's one of the greatest.
Yeah. This is
what do you mean it's impossible?
Yeah. So to me, yeah. So I still loved it. I mean, it was a great story of survival, hope, humanity, with a little bit of humor and sarcasm. So I mean, it was still a great story, even if you're not a sci-fi. Like I'm not. I like some sci-fi, but I don't read a lot of sci-fi. It's still a great story. I mean, either the ending and the relationships that are in there, I mean, that end up developing throughout the story, it's still great. Yeah, it's worth the hype. Like it has those high ratings on Goodreads for a reason, and to me, it's worth that. It's worth the rating that it has. I think it has like a 4.56 overall rating with a lot of reviews. So it has a very high rating on Goodreads, and it's worth the hype. I would say if you are interested in sci-fi at all, or if you love The Martian, you should definitely give it a try. It was really good.
So it wasn't overrated or underrated. It was
It's rated. It's rated correctly. I think that 4.5. I mean, the only reason for me why it wasn't a 5-star read was again because I'm not a sciencey person. Yeah. The sciencey parts I had to push through, but I'm glad I pushed through them to get to the story and the development of the story. It was well worth it.
Now, did you read The Midnight Library with us?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, was it, because I know that one had a little bit of quantum physics. Was it way beyond that?
Yeah, it's more.
Okay.
It's more than what
Okay.
you hear in the. It's more than a little bit. Not. Yeah, it's more
Okay.
than what you
Okay.
see in the Midnight Library. Again, it has more pages than the Midnight Library, so
Right.
you know
Yeah.
that it's
They have
gonna
more time to.
It's gonna have more, and it. Yeah, and he's really trying to explain as he's figuring out what to do. As he's playing MacGyver up there in space, he's trying to explain to you what he's doing, and you know how
That,
it's going
that
to
feels
work.
like it would get dense.
But no, it wasn't. I mean, it was good. It was
Yeah.
good. I'm not saying I don't want to scare people off, but I want you to be aware that there is a lot of science in there.
Mhm.
But
Well, it's science
skim
fiction.
through it. You know,
That's true. Yeah, that's
just skim. You could just read through it fast. Like that was the thing. At first, I was trying to read through it and trying to make sense of it, and I'm like, why am I doing that? Just read through it. Just take his word that it's gonna, you know, it's gonna work or it's not gonna work. I don't need to say, oh, that's unrealistic. You know,
or try to make it make sense in your head.
Yeah. So I just read it through as like it's a story. I'm not worried about whether it was unrealistic or not. You know,
I think I would be the one, Monique, would, like Monique, you just said, I would be the one researching everything. I would be so bad at that book, I'd never get through it. I put it down.
Yeah, no.
It's impossible. Can't grow potatoes.
Like, what does that mean? I don't know that word. What was Razorblade Tears rated? Do you know on Goodreads? Do you remember?
Razorblade Tears on Goodreads, it has an average of a 4.21, and it only has 16,000 people who rated it, basically. So I definitely I think it's rated accurately. Like I gave it 5 stars. I understand why some people would give it 4 stars, but I do think that it was very good, and I think that if you read it, you're not going to be disappointed. So I would say it's not overrated, and that I think everybody should read it. It's a little gory.
Stars? Did you give it?
Huh?
How many stars did you give it?
Oh, 5.
It's 5.
It's book of the year so far.
It's both of our choice.
It's my choice for the book of the month, book of the year. And it's probably top 5 of the books so far this year. This one and House in the Cerulean Sea.
I was gonna say, where did you? Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing about like Razorblade Tears, though, I mean, it's not going to be for everybody, right? You have to like a certain type of, like, if you like it's like a cross, like what we were saying, like Sons of Anarchy.
It's like Sons of Anarchy meets Man on Fire.
Man on Fire. So like if you think of the movie Man on Fire, and it's got that same type of feel to it. So if you like that type of thriller, action-packed type of movie, then you would like this book.
And it's very heavy and very dark at sometimes, because you got to remember, these are 2 fathers who are grieving the loss of their sons, and not only the fact that they're grieving their sons, they're grieving the fact that they didn't accept their sons as being gay. So both of their sons didn't want to have anything to do with their fathers, basically. And I think it was about them trying to make up for being bad fathers to them while they were alive. They're trying to make up to them by, avenging their deaths and trying to, be good fathers to them while they're gone. Yeah. And so at times it's very heavy, and at times it's graphic, and yeah, it's like if you like Sons of Anarchy, yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I know for Bell Hooks, so for All About Love, that one got 4.1 on Goodreads, but I gave it 5 stars. I think it was underrated for sure. And that probably, I think right now we have a new generation reading a book that is, kind of like, it's an older book that's been repopularized, I guess, today. And so maybe some of the references that she uses, they're like, who's little Kim? I mean, I hope they, I'm gonna say I would hope, but a lot of the references. One of the things that I liked the most, probably, I probably did not even cover this. She compared, or she made a reference to the fact that like consumerism is taking over because there's just this lack of love. And I think about that, and I'm like, it's so true. Like it's the whole minimalism movement was like birthed out of the fact that we're out here buying, things
Happiness.
and stuff buying happiness to fill this void. And she challenges that, and she's like, you're not going to find it in things. And I'm like, this is exactly what this generation needs, because you can shop directly from Instagram, you can shop directly from Facebook. They have your card information. Like it was just very hit nail on the head with that. And so I appreciate that it's somehow been revived again, but I think it's underrated because this generation doesn't understand a life without that. What is it called? Instant gratification.
Yeah.
So
that's what this generation is always looking for, is instant gratification.
Right. Like this is where I say
I live for likes.
No, I'm just kidding. I feel so bad. Did I just make fun of my own like YouTuber community? I'm going to hell. So this book, did it remind me of any other books? I have to say it might be the closest I could think of was Brené Brown. Do I still have that book? Daring Greatly. That might be the closest book that I could think of to that one. Just because, she talks mostly about vulnerability in that book and everything, but I also think that Bell Hooks, she's also in one breath saying like, be vulnerable. It's okay to be loving and to seek love and to all that. So that's a book that it reminds me of.
So this book, so Razorblade Tears, I don't think that I've read a book like it. But again, it does give me Sons of Anarchy vibes all the time. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I've read it. It's
I'm trying to think if I've read a book that it kind of would remind me of.
Yeah, it's such a modern and new thing. Like you see, authors now are talk a lot about LGBTQ community and racism. Like you see that more in books today than you have ever before. And I think it's all boils down to like publishing and that, but it's becoming more acceptable to write books like this. So but yeah, I don't think that I've read a book like it. I can't, nothing's coming to
it's in a class all on its own right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I'm hoping to read more books about it.
I don't know that I would have picked that book if it wasn't on, I don't know that if I would have ever walked into Barnes and Noble and picked that book if it wasn't on Book of the Month.
Exactly.
Honestly.
It wasn't my first pick for Book of the Month either. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, Mom, remember when I got this box, I think this was July's box, and it was raining outside. And I was like, oh, my Book of the Month. Remember when I was like, my books got wet? And I was so upset. And I was like, well, it's this book, so maybe it's okay. And I'm sitting here now, like my dust jacket's all like, and I'm just like, damn it. Like, oh, you can't really see, but like it's my favorite book now. And like the dust jacket's ruined, kind of. Yeah. It's okay.
I mean, that's one thing that I like about Book of the Month. Like they put some picks in there that I don't think I would have ever picked. Right. And because I never want to skip a month, I'll just read the synopsis, and sometimes I'll make a conscious choice to go outside of what my comfort zone would be. And
well, that's what you guys are doing for me, honestly. Like I stick with my fiction and my self-help. Like I finally got off the self-help wagon for the most part. Now I'm like into inspirational fiction. But every month I'm trying to challenge myself to, in addition to my inspirational fiction, to read something different, which I can't wait to talk about what we're going to read for October, but I'll wait. So, Diana, did that book remind you of any other books that you've read?
Not that I've read, but just like the movie, the Martian. Yeah, and like any like Interstellar, like I'll go way back and say like E.T.
I love E.T.
Right? Okay, so like, you know, those.
Did you just spoil something?
Oh.
Are aliens in the...
I'm not saying. I'm just saying it is worth the read. It's worth the read. If you like any of those, if it's worth it.
Sitting here like I got too much on my October list already.
I know, and you have
can't
it
add
already.
anymore.
You have it. So
I do have it. I'm sitting here in my mind like, okay, I could probably read it in November.
I love it. I love you guys and your reading habits. It's great.
My mom made me throw out a list of what I was reading this month, and I'm just like, there's so much that I want to get to.
It's good. The way you consume books is admirable. It really is.
I literally have
both consume books. To me, I consume books like babies consume like baby food. Like,
it's funny because it just has happened like through the
I've always been a reader.
When the pandemic started, I think that is when I really picked up reading again.
It's really an easy thing. It's a good thing. It's an easy thing. Mm-hmm. It keeps you sharp. Like, reading is very healthy.
Yeah.
And it's like watching a movie in your brain.
It really is. I agree. I can't watch
movies. I got books.
Boom. I'm like, why do I even need cable anymore? I don't actually have cable. I'm like, why do I need Netflix? Why do I need Hulu? I just keep it on for the baby because he needs to watch Super Simple songs. and eventually he'll watch those things. So I'm going to move on to 9. How did it impact me? And do I think I'll read it in a few months? I don't remember it. It definitely impacted me. I think I will remember it forever just because it became something that helped me understand something I conceptually understood but didn't intellectually grasp. So I thank her for that book, for helping to give me a definition that I could like turn to and say, like, this is it, you know. And then her tying of spirituality into it too. It's rich because, you know, I do often turn to the Bible to try to understand things as well that I don't know. And because she was able to tie, you know, spirituality to some level into it, it's just a complementary thing. Almost take like the chapter that's on spirituality almost takes from what I feel like, you know, like God would say about love. So, yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
So, it was very impactful for me. I think that it's a story that it lets you see that, you know, protagonist characters are not always. It's not always black and white. They're not always 100% good. Everybody has their flaws, and I think that it's gonna stay with the ending. When I tell you, I cried. The ending made me cry, and I think that every time I drive past a wood chipper, I'll always think of this book.
You don't want to come to New Hampshire, then, girlfriend, because it's wood chipper everywhere here.
Every time I see a wood chipper, I'm like, And if you read it, you know. If you know, you know.
I can't believe you said that.
That's like the first, like, I was just like, what?
Oh boy. Now just that reference right there makes me want to read it. Now, yeah. Pretty sad that wood chippers got me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wood chipper, yes.
What about you, Diana? Did that book leave a lasting impression on you?
It did. I think I loved the ending and the way that it ended, and I do think about it and wonder if, you know, without going into much detail. But yeah, I love the way that it ended. Even though it may be a little far-fetched, but still, I still loved it. And it just, I don't know. It made me feel happy. Again, it gave me all the feels. I was happy. I was sad. You're rooting for them. You're rooting for him to save the earth. You're wondering if the earth is even worth saving. With some of the decisions that are made, people were making in this book, and but it is really good. Yeah. So
now, yeah. But I'm curious. This question doesn't have to apply just to these books, but overall, do you guys ever reread books?
Very rarely. Monique probably does more than I do. To me, I feel like I have so much to read. Like, why am I going to reread something? Mm-hmm. So I very rarely, but I am going to reread Harry Potter coming up. The Harry Potter series.
Really?
But
we're reading it together.
I read that series like 20 years ago. So okay. I know the movies way more than, because as my kids have grown up, especially Raquel, we would watch the Harry Potter movies every year, like all mm-hmm. of them, back to back to back. Every October. It was like a tradition to watch it through October, November, December. We're watching all the Harry Potter movies. So I know the movies and way more than the books, because I've only read the books one time through 20 years ago, so I'm excited to read the books over again, and so that I can compare it more to the movies and to see if I'm even gonna if I still am gonna love them as much as I loved it the first time around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Monique, which books did you reread? I'm curious what books you've reread or
have I reread? Oh God. I've reread all of my smut books. I reread those all the time. Like all of the Crosby Cole Immortals After Dark. Like I stay rereading those because it's been it's a long series. So every time a new book comes out, I may not read it. Like I listen to it. I'll listen to it.
Just to kind of refresh your memory.
Yes. I do plan on rereading. I would love to reread this one. It's like rewatching a movie. Like, mm-hmm. If you can't find anything that you like, you put on a movie. So I would reread this book if I had the chance, and I'm going to reread the ACOTAR series with Mom when she reads it for the first time. Okay. And then I'm going to reread A Thousand Splendid Suns. I plan on rereading that one.
I want to reread that one the first time around.
Mm-hmm. You didn't read that yet, right?
No. I keep saying, I'm going to get to it, and I keep
telling you.
I need to read that one.
I just had one of my employees. She was like, I just read The Kite Runner, and I was like, but did you read A Thousand Splendid Suns? She was like, no, and I was like, can you read that one? So she's like,
did that one come before?
No, it's the same. It's the same author.
It's the same author. Yeah.
Okay. So The Kite Runner is about two boys. And then A Thousand Splendid Suns is about two women. So I think it hits different, but it's still, and believe it or not, I only read it once, and I read it like over 10 years ago, like when it first came out. Mm-hmm. And I still, to this day, I'm like, that's my favorite book I've ever read.
Really?
Yes. It's still, okay. And so I want to reread it again just to see if it's still,
the same feels.
Mm-hmm.
This was fun. It was. I was, bring your own book. I was all like, I had anxiety. I'm thinking like, how will we discuss books that maybe some of us have not read? But it works. Like I think it definitely can be fun. Mm-hmm. And I know I missed one, but that's okay because I told Monique we're gonna be hitting for October, hitting back on that 2 week schedule situation. So for October spooky month, the inspirational fiction pick is going to be the Archer by No, it's just an
Oh.
inspirational fiction pick.
Okay.
I don't know if there would be a spooky inspirational fiction book.
Probably not.
It would be very inspiring. But this one, the reason I chose this one too, especially because I want to read a lot more of this book, it's written very light. Like, look at the chapters. So if you guys read this one, rest assured, like, you're gonna have plenty of time.
It's gonna be a quick read.
A very quick read, yes. So this is gonna be the inspirational fiction pick for Paper and Pajamas. But then I'm also gonna read for Spooky Month, Home Before Dark.
Ooh.
Just picked
It's
up
on my
today.
TBR.
So
Riley
what are we?
Seeger.
Yes. So what? Actually, this was
Or
one of those.
Sager, whatever. I don't even know how.
I think it's Sager.
Yeah.
So did you
I'm
know?
thinking Dodgers, right? Corey Seager.
Did you guys actually know with this book that the book before it, or the story itself, initially was based off of a nonfiction horror, and this kind of just like picks up on the fiction side. So it's gonna have some trails of something that actually really happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what I got from reading the back. What are you guys reading for Spooky Month?
Oh my gosh.
You don't want my list. No, I'm just kidding. I want to be scared. I already started off. I started off with I just finished Ace of Spades today. I count that towards my September though. So I plan on reading. Let me pull up my text message that I sent to Mom earlier. I plan on reading the first Harry Potter. So
okay,
not Chamber of Secrets, Sorcerer's Stone, Verity, The Troop, Book of Accidents, the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I'm going to add Home Before Dark on there, and let's hope that I get to all of those. Those are all that I want to read. I'm hoping to read all of them and then add some more, but that's a good list.
That's a great list.
And Mother, what are you reading?
I am really it's going to be hard to read all of these, but I'm reading Verity right now. So I'm trying to finish, hopefully I can finish that one in the next day. White Smoke.
Yes.
In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and the Book of Accidents. And then if I can, I will try to read the Final Girls Support Group. But that one might be
that one. I have that one too, but there haven't been great reviews on it.
Right. So that's why I put it last.
I'm not in a rush to read it, but I forgot about White Smoke, and it's the fact that I pre-ordered it and I got it like on release day, and it's not like for what.
I just got it. They had it at Barnes and Noble. I just went and got it.
I know, but
I have it already.
Me being me, I was like, let me just pre-order it.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a haunted house type of book. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm reading that this month." It's
she killed us with allegedly, so you just know that it's going to be a messed up book.
She's an author it's Tiffany Jackson. I think that's her name, right?
Tiffany Jackson, yeah. She's crazy. Not crazy. She's a good
all
one.
Of her, yeah. We love all of her books. So she's one of those ones that's an automatic.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to see what is the calendar looking like for what date is, I guess, is Halloween a Friday?
It's a Sunday.
Okay. All right, cool. So then what I think we'll do, I'll schedule another discussion for 2 weeks from today, and then 2 weeks from that. So we'll probably be able to cover the Archer in full by the first session. But then I want to hear all about the spooks.
Yeah, I'm going to try to. I haven't ordered this book yet. Did you order it already, Monique?
Mm-hmm.
The book that for
no.
October? Yeah, I need to order.
Can you get it from? Is it at Barnes and Nobles?
Yeah,
is it? There. Oh, it is at Barnes and Nobles. Okay.
I'm going there tomorrow, so I'm going to see if I can get it. If not, I'll just order it from Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I'll look to.
Is this the one that has the 3 books together?
No, this one is just
Oh, I thought that it was
like a
maybe
3
it was
book.
different. No, I thought that there was like 3 books that you wanted to read over the course of.
Oh,
That,
you're thinking of I think The Ultimate Gift. This one.
oh,
I think you're thinking that one.
Is that the one that has 3 books? Like
yeah,
the series?
yeah. So
Okay.
I don't think so. I think for the Jim Stovall ones, like I want to do this one for November. If this one, there's a lot of copies. I ordered it on Amazon. I don't think you can find it in Barnes and Noble. So for this one, that's November's pick. I don't think we'll read it back to back just because there's so many other books out there. And then we could just take our. I want to be one of those people who like reads an author's books back to back. I feel like you should, but there's so many good books to read and so many different authors. So we'll read that first Jim Stovall book.
It's hard to read backlist books when like new books keep coming out, and you're just like, oh, I want to read that. Oh, I want to read that.
Yeah, but we'll start with that one from him. Because just imagine if I was like, oh, because then we'd be reading like Mitch Albom all the time, or Jim Stovall all the time, or all these books all the time. Olive Kitteridge or something. That's one I added, and I guess that's a whole series too. So, yeah. But all right, y'all. Well, as always, this was fun. It's always nice talking books with you guys.
Yes.
And I guess I'll close it off here. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'll be sending out an email with all the information and updating paperandpajamascafe.com for anyone watching